Thank you, Madam Chair. Fellow Toastmasters, most courageous guests. How many of you have ever had the dubious experience of a father-son or father-daughter event when you were younger? A camping trip or a picnic. There's always something just a little bit odd about those events, bordering on creepy. They were a bit contrived. Sometimes they had great intentions, but we all know what good intentions are. You know, it's the road to hell. And I always thought, you know, these events could really have benefited from a little bit more planning and really people thinking, okay, what are we getting into here? And as you grow older, you get out of the father-son, father-daughter events. So I thought. We've gone through a hiatus period, and then around the time that I was 20, 21 years old, Dad started to get these father-son urges again to do stuff together. Now, I think part of the impetus for that was the summers that I was 20, 21. That was when I started working in the bush. Some of you may not know this, but I'm actually a geologist by vocation. I spent the entire decade of the 80s out in a camp somewhere. And the summers I was away. So I think my dad actually really missed me. The old saying goes, how can you miss me if I don't go away? So Dad says, let's start doing some stuff together, son. Sure, sounds good to me. Great idea. What do you want to do, Dad? Let's go hiking. My first thought was, oh, come on, Dad, are you kidding me? Because there was a bit of a dichotomy happening here. I mentioned that I was working in the bush as a geologist, carrying rocks on my back, climbing mountains. I was 21 years old. I had spent the entire summer going up and down mountains in the BC and Yukon. I was in the best shape of my life. I was even more svelte and slim than I am now. I was just thighs like you wouldn't believe, just great shape, lungs nice and pink. Dad, on the other hand, well, not too bad. All things considered, my dad was only 40 at the time. And I guess that's probably another speech. I was at my mom and dad's wedding, shall we say. I was, in fact, the impetus for them getting married at age 18, but again, that's another story. So there's not a great age difference between Dad and I. 21, 40, not too bad. However, Dad, well, he hadn't been spending the summer going uphill and down dale carrying rocks in his back, that's for sure. He was smoking at the time, which wasn't really all that beneficial for him, and he was a tad more portly than he is now, fortunately. So it was not exactly an even match, and here's Dad, who clearly had lost his mind on this, saying, let's go hiking somewhere, son. So I thought, okay, fine, we'll be gentle about this. We'll be nice. Where do you want to go? Let's go do Mount Yamnuska. Now, how many people have driven from Calgary to Banff or Calgary to Vancouver on the Trans-Canada Highway? Mount Yamnuska is something you can't miss, even if you want to. Just as you're getting in the front ranges of the Rockies, there's this enormous cliff off the right-hand side of the road, this buff-colored sandy cliff with a fairly steep slope going up to the base of the cliff itself. And that mountain is Mount Yamnuska. So he wants to go tackle that. I had no problem with that because I'd gone up that mountain many times before. So to me, it was, again, being 21, not especially being all that bright. Like, sure, let's go do that. That sounds great. I wasn't really even considering that I'm going to have to drag Dad up this mountain and get him there. Fine, the day goes off. I made sure that we had a nice picnic lunch. We had a good night's sleep. I drove, just let Dad sit and relax. Get to the parking area. We start climbing up the 23, 24 degree scree slope up to the base of the cliff. I'd always gone up that way. Just up we go. And again, having been in the shape that I was in, for me that was nothing. So we're climbing up this slope that's got rocks, boulders about the size of the table. I'm just motoring along. Having a great time. I got the lunch on my back. I'm walking, I'm looking back. Dad? Hello? Dad? Dad? Come on, Dad. Here's my poor father, one rock at a time. He's sort of looking at me. I was far enough away that I couldn't hear what he was thinking, and it was probably just as grateful for that. I had to resort to some desperate measures. After a while, I said, okay, look, come on, Dad. Come on, Dad. We got him. Here, Dad. Did it work? Wait for him. He got to take a swig of the rum. Move on a bit more. A little while later, come on, Dad, let's go. So we get to the base of the cliff, and this is a spectacular cliff. It actually overhangs. When you get to the base of it, the top of it is actually overhanging. And it's a nice place to sit. We had our lunch. had some more of this. And Dad had a cigarette. And then we're sitting there having a nice quiet time, and suddenly out of nowhere, these people appear. When I was looking at these people, looked at me and looked at me and said, "Where the hell did you come from?" I said, "Oh, well, we just came up the trail." So, my poor father had a look in his face that I hadn't seen before, and fortunately I haven't seen since. It was this amazing mix of sheer wonder and this, you can see the wheels turning, like, how am I going to murder my son with these people here? They're witnesses. And he just looked at me and said, "A trail? There's a trail up here?" I said, sorry, I honestly didn't know, Dad, sorry, I swear. Had I known there was a trail, we would have taken the trail. Trust me, Dad, more. I didn't work with that. He said, "There's a trail up here?" I said, yes, okay. If there's a trail, I said, "I'm assuming there's a trail." That's what they said. But I said, "We'll find it on the way out. I promise you. We'll take the trail back." At this point, we're only halfway there. Because we get to the base of the cliff. Oh, you want to go all the way to the top of the mountain. So going around the back of Mount Yamnuska is really quite convenient. There's a series of blocks, steps, essentially. Just like a big giant staircase. So we go around the back and easily sort of get up to the top of the cliff. And I go and hang my legs right over the edge of the cliff and sit there with my friend again. "Come on, Dad." I look at Dad, and he's a little bit lighter in color than this. And that's when I realized, oh, right, Dad's afraid of heights. Oh. So he's standing a good distance away from me, and he's thoroughly mortified, because I'm sitting there with my legs hanging over the edge of the cliff, and he's saying, "Son, come on, a gust of wind could come, and off you go." So finally I got up and went back, and gave my dad a hug because he started shaking and not looking too healthy. And then we went back down, all the way back down the steps, back down to the base of the cliff, and we found the trail. It was a nice trail. So easy, just nice, gentle switchbacks through nice, shady woods. Would have been a great, pleasant way to go out. However, it reinforced the fact that with all these father and son things, you need to do a little bit of planning, really think about what you're getting yourself into, and maybe going out and getting a good trail map is not a bad idea either. Madam Chair.